We are in somewhat of a golden age of startups and entrepreneurs. Whether it be tech, finance, AI related, you name it. But what skills can you foster in order to successfully take on a business that will benefit others and be able to bring solutions to problems? Well, today we're talking with Lina. She started a business in high school, turning a hobby into a side hustle. She's from Colombia, but she also lived in Argentina and Panama, and now she studies a double major of both systems engineering and business administration. This is Gen Z Insights, part of the Gen Z and STEM podcast, where every week during summer an episode is released. We feature members from Gen Z studying in STEM fields and doing amazing things. Let's get to it. So, welcome Lina. I'm excited to have you here today, and today we're going to be talking about a bit of what you've been pursuing and your current studies. So yeah, welcome.
Thank you.
So firstly, can you maybe give a tiny introduction on who you are?
So I'm Lina Baquero. I'm Colombian, but I've lived half of my life in Panama and Argentina. I graduated just last year, and now I'm doing a double major in business administration and systems engineering, also known as computer science, in Los Andes University.
Okay, nice. And you're also so you're involved in so many things like finance club, business and women in business groups, so many initiatives. But to start off, I kind of want to discuss your first steps because you created a company, a business, I guess, a small business in high school. And later on, I want to talk about how your perspective changed as you've grown and stuff. But let's start at the beginning. So yeah, when you were in high school, you started a healthy baked goods business in Colombia, and you recently stopped it for other endeavors. But how did you come up with the idea?
Well, my idea, Bakerini, started off as Delicias de Lini back when I was in 10th grade. I had just moved to Bogota and I was new to my school. This was in 2020, so I only had virtual classes and I had literally no friends. So I had started to bake for fun for some years now. And with so much free time, this hobby became a daily routine. And basically, in part motivated by the fact that I couldn't find the healthy treats I would always buy for myself in Buenos Aires. When I was 9, my body became chronically sensitive to sugar and I was diagnosed with hypoglycemia. That means I can't really have s- high sugar doses or even low ones. This was terrible news because I'm such a sweet tooth. And ever since, I've been buying or making sugar-free desserts. So since I was baking so much, my parents scolded me on having to spend so much on ingredients. So I was really motivated to pay for these myself, and I knew how delicious my treats were. So I decided to design a brand on Canva and create an Instagram displaying my treats under this brand. And just like that, I started a mini digital business, basically.
Yeah, it's so cool. Yeah, and I love how with tech you can kind of do anything with social with just the things on the internet and stuff like that. So
It's
yeah,
crazy.
but did you manage everything on yourself, the whole business yourself?
I did manage everything from baking, financial planning, getting ingredients, delivering at the beginning, basically everything and anything. But more so because I was a student and both the volume of sales I was making were enough to get employees, but at the same time, I didn't have time to have an employee because I was studying.
Yeah.
So yeah, I did manage everything myself.
Okay. And what skills did they teach you? Doing that so young.
Well, I feel like Bakerini was a lot more than just baking cookies. I learned how to be a confident person. I started as 17 trying to be someone in a new society. I had to sell my product. I had to deal with difficult clients who were really picky about healthiness. I had to learn how to cost products and calculate profits. It's more than just putting a number. It's calculating the grams of each product and calculating how much it costs you, etc. Um, I learned how to do a creative and legal process for creating a brand. Once more, it's more than just Canva. There's so much legal processes involved. I learned how to participate in fairs, building a stand and managing the whole logistics situation is hard. And it taught me so much more like discipline, resilience, developing a hard skin, being a problem solver, delegating. And I feel like in the end of the day, I generated a business mindset under this endeavor because now I think of logistics costs and profits every time I look at stores or startups. And when I face a problem or I see that something's missing, I constantly think of a business or a product that could potentially solve it.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was so crucial because like you just like threw yourself into it and then you had to learn all these other things, but then having hands-on experience means like you can really understand everything much better. It's really nice. So now after well, also during Bakerini, but now you study in university and you're doing both like business administration, like you said, and I guess computer science or systems engineering.
Yeah.
But did doing running this business, did it help you like define what you wanted to study in university?
So I feel like Bakerini did not help me to find what I wanted to study, but it was rather a confirmation of my passions and interests. I genuinely loved having the business, the challenges it brought, and the benefits it brought. But I've always had a clear vision on what I do like and I what I don't like. And the things I don't like, I didn't pursue. I'm a very like action-based person. I guess I did consider studying design at one point, but I felt that my business skills needed more polishing in order to go out in the world and create a business after my whole experience with Bakerini. I feel like that was where I needed more help. And if anything, I could always take necessary design courses aside from the ones I took at school. And I also considered studying systems engineering as a first, but when I saw it, I saw too much math. And I love math, but I needed social sciences as well. And the business classes at the time had the perfect combination for me.
Yeah. And so I guess why did you choose to do because you do two degrees at once. So why did you choose to study two degrees?
So in Los Andes, one can only actually start with one major, so one degree. And by second semester, one can incorporate classes of other majors and register another major by third semester if you want to pursue it. So I started off with business, and even though I loved it, I felt that there was something missing. I have a very strong humanitarian side, but I also have a very geeky, mathy side that needed to be challenged further, and I got really frustrated. Then I just decided to incorporate my previous career option as my second career. And I can just say it's been the most harmonious combination for my personal skills and my passions.
Yeah. No, I love that because so I do civil engineering, but it's actually called civil engineering and management. So we actually do get some of those social like aspects to it, and I know some other courses even in my university don't get that. And I feel like it's so much like it's a benefit also when you like enter the job market because then you can deal with people, for instance. But it's also, like I think very beneficial and like really nice to have both of those. So yeah, how do you see it like complementing each other?
So I feel like systems and engineering complement each other, but that's just like saying that I personally, I don't know, I look good in jeans and a t-shirt, you know? Some people don't, and for many, this combination might not be a compliment, but I believe they are because business teaches me how to interact with other people, how to create and communicate ideas in the corporate world, how to plan strategically, among others. While, in other hand, system teaches me how to interpret the way our current world works. It literally feels like putting on x-ray glasses and being able to see through the services and products that we use every day, but we don't think much of. And I feel like additionally, it's opened a door in my creative mind that has begun to think technologically. So, like to have creative technological ideas, which I feel is amazing.
Yeah, it's really cool. But do you see also because it can be a lot, right, to do two degrees in the same time? Are there also any like challenges of doing like a double major?
Well, I've not yet encountered any challenges. I am in third semester, so that's beginning second year. I might encounter them, but I actually believe it's balanced my student life so far because I don't have as much workload as a systems engineering student. and I do have more workload than a business student. So I feel like it's a good balance.
Okay. And so in our like prior conversation, you kind of mentioned how like Bakerini is kind of like you thought it was kind of cute now, like in hindsight, because now that you've learned more about like business and like tech and everything, you're now interested in different ventures. So I'm curious from the like experience and the clubs you're in, like how has your perspective shifted on the business you might want to found and the projects you're involved in?
Sure, Bakerini is now a cute school memory that I might reopen as a hobby once I consolidify a big tech business or once I retire. Um, and this perspective has definitely come from my time at Los Andes. I My highlight is my first semester business class. It was just eye-opening, more than I would have ever imagined. We were submerged in a challenge of making a real life, impactful, and profitable business. And I just knew Bakerini was not really that. I did actually create one a business idea, and it actually performed amazingly. I got really good feedbacks from the business judges. It was kind of like a Shark Tank. And I do plan of pursuing it eventually. I'll not go into detail about it for luck's sake, but it is for the silver economy. And aside from my courses, as you mentioned, I'm in the finance club and the women's in business club. And these have likewise allowed me to widen my perspective. In the finance club, for once, I learned how to use money in other ways than for business or really just spending, such as stocks, real estate, funds, etc. And it's allowed me to think of business profits differently as not to save or spend, but to invest and allow these to grow with the market. And the Women's Club, on the other hand, has allowed me to meet young girls of all sorts of mindsets and passions who think of business ideas that I would have never considered, or in fact, I would pursue. It has shown me that there are people for everything, and together with their individual passions, we can definitely build a fantastic future.
Yeah. And also probably that exposure to other people and other people's ideas can quite be like can be inspiring and can also help you like figure out different ideas.
For sure.
But then from there, does that mean that you have like, you know, a different because the business you did was with like food and like baked goods. But does that mean that you might want to like venture in projects that are more maybe like, like SaaS or like, more on internet based than actual like physical like products or not at all?
Well, I don't want to say I'm close to any business idea. I I feel like I'm gonna pursue a mindset of what's missing really and what can people use. And lately my mindset has been more service based rather than product based. I feel like service can reach more people, and if it's something really that's missing, it can come in it can come in handy more easily than a product, I feel. So I might just go into that again with my silver economy business idea that I started in first semester. That is a service, and I'll start by pursuing that, but I'm not close to anything.
Yeah, I see. Nice. And okay, so in general, like, tech and finance projects are gaining more attention. Like, for instance, in countries that don't really trust their banking institutes, there's way more options now, like as like fully virtual bank accounts and digital credit cards, and kind of like you mentioned that have like the service because it kind of revolutionizes people's like lives because they don't need all the procedures or steps to have like a bank account. So how do you think like tech related finance initiatives are evolving?
Well, lately I've certainly been learning a lot, for example, about cryptos. So for instance, I lived in Argentina, and that's especially a country that can't really trust its banks or finance. And they have such a high percentage of crypto usage. And it's just amazing how the world is evolving, how money is becoming so digital. There's NFTs, there's so many possibilities of investments these days, um, that can both be an asset for one's personal finance, but can also be ideas for possibly planting financial products eventually.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And then, is there any aspects of like the finance or tech sector that you're hoping to like dive deeper into?
Well, definitely the tech. I'm not precisely looking to dive deep into the financial world through tech. I'm at the moment rather learning about finance in order to allocate my own earnings in an ideal manner. And I believe capital opens up a comfortable life, but more importantly, it opens up the possibility to create more businesses without having debt. You can just keep on creating. And I'll really never be closed again to anything on the financial sector because perhaps the business I want to create right now or the one I'll eventually pursue someday will be involving this sector somehow.
Mhm. Yeah. No, and definitely like also like investing early. I don't know. I don't know if that's spoken enough. Like, financial literacy, which is definitely something that's important. In just like if you're studying, if you're working, or if you're starting a business, especially because like to, raise funds to be able to like manage your business, you need money and you need to know how to, where it's going. So yeah, I totally agree.
So underspoken. I feel people should focus a lot more on their personal finances and learn how to use them strategically.
Yeah. And lastly, so do you have any advice for someone who's like starting out or who wants to start like their business?
I mean, for sure. I've had a lot of friends actually come to me with, "Oh, I want to do this. Oh, I want to do that." And there's always something stopping them, and that something is themselves. It's their mind and their courage basically. And I'm always like, believe in yourself. Just throw yourself out there cuz you'll be surprised that very little people actually throw themselves out there, and it's not easy to open a business. And once you do great, people are like, "Oh yeah, they did it overnight." But they don't see all the process behind your hard efforts. So I'm always like, just start. Start an Instagram. Start. You don't have to have a super solid plan. Don't be so OCD. You just throw yourself out there and kind of like map out a route that's flexible. Because again, nothing's constant. Just look at COVID, for example. It completely threw off everyone. So just throw yourself out there, have more or less a good idea, a plan, have the discipline and your goal, and just organize yourself. But honestly, I will tell people to believe in themselves because especially I see my friends who are more female, I guess, because I feel like that's also like a matter of confidence. They I don't know, they believe less in themselves usually. And I'd love to see them just go out there.
I agree. But I don't know if you've seen this too, but like what I've seen with people trying to like create a business or something like that is that they want it to be perfect before they like launch it. And like, they never like, and also it's very scary, to put something you've worked on out there and like, get feedback from people. But I think like that's essential. Even if it's not amazing, the best way maybe is to like put it out there and then maybe get feedback and maybe improve it or yeah, whatever it is.
For a lot of people, even for me, when I started off Bakerini, and for example, my mom who's opened up several startups, it's crazy because the less you plan at the beginning, the smaller and more basic of a product you kind of release as a test, it's easier to really change and basically implement what is actually the perfection once people use it. Because again, a plan can look really pretty on paper, but once you put it out there, you might be surprised that it's completely the wrong interpretation of how it's going to be implemented or how people need it.
Yeah. Yeah, totally agree. All right. Well, thank you so much like for coming on today and like sharing your knowledge and your experience. And I can't wait to see like your next ventures and what you do in the future.
No, it was a pleasure, Maya. Thank you for having me.
If you made it till here, thank you. Today we talked all about finance and combining your studies, as well as what entrepreneurship and starting your own business. I hope this was insightful to you, and we're going to be releasing Gen Z Insight episodes every week this summer. So subscribe or follow us on LinkedIn or Instagram to stay tuned. Bye.